Welcome to another episode of the Alley Report, part of the Service Department. Today we're talking to Max Booth of Ghoulish Books, Ghoulish Bookstore, Ghoulish Festival, author of Touch the Night, Maggot Screaming, and I believe Mr. Bones. Thanks for coming on here.
Thanks for having me on. This is going to be cool. I've watched a few episodes. It's a fun time.
Oh, awesome.
I've been so jealous. I'm like, why? I want to do this. And now it's happening.
It's happening. It's for real. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so I love Mr. Bones. I don't want to try to give anything away or spoil anything if people haven't read it yet, but
Let's spoil
um
the whole thing.
it's done. Everything. But I love the internet folklore aspect about how
Yeah.
like things can originate like in forgotten forums and stuff like that. Was any of that based on how like things like Slender Man, Black Eyed Kids like go from forum to like life somehow?
In a recent review I saw of the book, they mentioned how it was so cool how I did this like homage to how the Slender Man like came into like prominence. And to be honest, I completely forgot that's how the Slender Man like became a thing. Was on the Something Awful films. Completely forgot about that. I never visited that film when I was a kid. My big one was the Cracked films, and it was called Pointless Waste of Time.
Yeah.
That was the big one I was on as a teen. Um, the big Wow, it is difficult. I haven't talked about this book in an interview yet, and I'm realizing now I don't know how to discuss it without spoiling things. So I'll just say there's a certain scientific experiment that happened, and they discuss it in my novel. And that specific experiment, I always thought was really cool. I read like the nonfiction book about the case, and I was always a little disappointed it didn't end. It didn't go a different direction, but it's nonfiction, so obviously it's not going to go the direction I wanted it
Yeah.
to. But I was able to take it the direction I wanted by just writing my own version of it, basically.
Yeah. And I had never heard of that case before. I'd read the book and I was looking that up. But yeah, I just love the idea of that the suggestion and thought is enough to bring something into being. It's supposed to manifest.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a oh man, there's this collection by an author, and I'm blanking on both the author's name and the collection, so this is not helpful whatsoever. But the title of the short story is also something I forgot. I have a terrible guess. I think the author's name is like Black is either his last name or it's in the collection title. The Shield story is about a bullet, basically. And it's about these scientists at a college, and they come up with this idea, basically, this experiment, how so many times in like news stories they read someone is fucking around with a gun that they think is unloaded and it ends up being loaded and they end up shooting themselves accidentally. So the experiment they have is they get this gun, everybody checks that it's unloaded, and they leave it in a locked box in a closet for some length of time. And the idea is when they take it out of this box, it's gonna have a bullet in it. But instead of just
Oh,
checking if a bullet is in this gun, they instead the one who doubts a bullet will be in it, he's gonna take the gun to his head and pull the trigger and see what happens. It's a great collection. Uh, do you edit these episodes?
um, we haven't yet, but like we'll put something in here like when we figure out what the title is and everything.
I
We will
could
absolutely
go
add that.
get it. It would take me like a minute, so it's up to you. It's like in a different room. Well, I could just find it at a
Oh,
later time and tell you.
one
Up to you.
second. Okay.
Okay, I went back. I found it. I knocked over a bunch of books I'll clean up later. The
Listen.
collection is called Basic Black, and it's by Tilly
Okay.
Dowling. And the shield really is called The Bullet That Grows in the Gun. It's really great. I highly recommend anybody interested in reading that to check out that Shirley. Whole
Okay, yeah.
collection's great. Basic Black.
Okay, yeah, that's so anybody reading or listening, check. I mean, I'm gonna get it. Like, I want to read it. Um, I also love like in I feel like in this and Maggot Screaming, there's a part, you have where characters who may or may not be doomed are just watching The Simpsons on repeat over and over again.
Yeah, I that just comes from my own love of The Simpsons, and I don't know. I just that's what I would be doing. Someone who was reading Bones recently had tagged me in a meme they made, but it made me remember there was an episode of The Simpsons, like in one of the mid seasons, I think. It's like an anthology episode, like 22 short films in Springfield is the name of the
Yeah.
episode. And one of them is Abe going to Dr. Nick because he has a bonus eruptus, which is he's afraid his skeleton's going to burst out of his mouth. And I thought, God damn it, the Simpsons really do everything.
Yeah, like no
They
matter
did
what.
it.
I
Yeah.
didn't remember that either. What's funny is like when I was reading it, my Simpsons moment was when I think it was like you were like doing some funny jokes about indie horror people, and like I just thought of Bart saying, "Oh, he does, they don't care whose toes they step on."
It's truly the best show of all time. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
so good. Even the new episodes are pretty good.
yeah. I guess I for a long time I didn't watch the new stuff, but it was my kids were binging it, and then they got to like the later seasons. So I was like, oh, I've been like missing out. There's some great stuff happening here.
Yeah, like it's like pizza. Even bad Simpsons is still good
Yeah,
Simpsons. There's this one episode from a few seasons back I always think of because that's one of the most bleakest jokes I've ever heard in anything. And it was something with Mo, and he was like, he put something in his mouth, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't had anything this filthy in my mouth since my dad's gun." Pretty good.
there's just little things like there's a random episode where it's like you just see Mo and his head in the oven, just a note on his back says no funeral. It's like,
Yeah. That reminds me of there's a thing in Bones. There's a scene about an oven, and it's basically
yes.
this extremely messed up joke that I've had in my head for like a decade, and I just never knew what to do with it. And that's this I could just say it, I guess. Basically there's this woman who's the side of her face is all messed up because when she was a teen, she was really depressed and also obsessed with Sylvia Plath. And so she decided to end things the same way Plath did, but she didn't quite realize the difference between gas and electric stoves, ovens. So she sticks her head into an oven and it's not the gas that she has on, it's just the heat. So she ends up just like melting half of the face off. And I don't know who that joke is for besides myself. I think it's hilarious. I also recognize this is deeply messed up, but if that sounds like a type of humor you into, then I think this book might be for you. I don't know. But I
And
had to
like
get it
that,
out of my system somehow.
well, that same like scene at that doctor's office, where had my favorite moment in the book, which the doctor's like full page monologue where he's just yelling at like the main characters, and that was I just love it was just it was just so great.
I do love Crazy Dactyl. I had one in Maggot Screaming as well, and
Oh yeah, she was
nothing is
nuts.
funnel to me than just writing about a crazy dactyl for some reason. And they also have crazy names like Winzenreed and Zambrano. The scene you're talking about in Bones definitely wasn't planned or outlined, and it got out of hand. And it took I just spent like 2 weeks writing this chapter that ended up being like almost 8,000 words long. And I kept realizing I could remove this whole chapter from the book and not much would change with the story. But I was just so obsessed with keeping it in. And I think I just think it's funny. It's basically for anyone listening, they so they're having an issue in the book. The book is about a, a guy. and his wife, they run a small press, and they get this unsolicited submission called "I Believe in Mystical Bones," and it's about this entity that once summoned, the mystical bones basically sneaks into reality every night and steals some of your bones and replaces it with something who knows what. And the idea is mystical bones is going to do this every night until the entire skeleton has been replaced. At some point, Daniel, who's the protagonist of the book, he becomes convinced this is happening to himself. And so his wife, Eileen, drags him to this doctoral. It's basically this he built the doctoral. He's legit. He has his own clinic, but on Sundays every week he does a pro bono thing at his house. Well, people can come if you don't have insurance, you don't have money. This is actually based on a real doctoral. My wife once saw, and I took her to. Like in real life and in the book, the place was overrun by chickens. It was nuts. They kept trying to get into like the vehicle as we were leaving. There's so many chickens. But unlike in real life, in this book, the doctor has a sister who owns a fruit pie company that she sells in a truck outside the house. And just it becomes evident quite quickly during the examination that this doctor is less interested in treating patients and more interested in just like advertising his sister's fruit pie company. And I just really got obsessed with this fruit pie thing, and I don't know. There's really no point to it beyond that it made me laugh a lot. It doesn't really affect the book that much, but goddamn,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love that. I love that stuff in novels. Like I like, you have this whole fully formed world, and there's just strange stuff, and we're going to take weird detours, and not everything is plot driven. Like I don't know. I love taking those
Yeah,
journeys when I'm reading.
absolutely.
Um, God, yeah, because well, it's funny when I was reading that, I was like, this has to be a real doctor, this has to be a real thing. I assume the fruit pies were real too. That like there would be
Oh,
I could find that in San Antonio.
they should be. They make a killing. For
Um,
me, I would buy them all.
oh,
Um, yeah.
and I mentioned this in my review because it sounds like bullshit, but like the but before I started Mr. Bones, like earlier that day, I was like playing tag with my kids in the backyard, and we have this big dumb dog. And out of nowhere, he just like slams full force into my foot and like breaks two of my toes. And so
What the
later,
hell?
I know it just slams into my foot. I even heard the snap. At, it's better now slightly, but like so that night, I'm like reclined my foot. I was like, oh well, I'm gonna start reading a book. I started Mr. Bones. And
Oh
just as I'm reading,
no.
I'm like, oh, this is like this is an immersive experience now.
What toes broke?
It was the two smallest ones, like the pinky and the one next to it.
Okay.
Mainly the one next to it. So those ones I
Did
looked at, it's got like that bend. It's like, man,
I've
you could
never broken a bone, but I've always heard that like broken toes really mess with like balance. Like you think even just one toe being broken wouldn't affect you too much, but did you have issues with like the balance of just like standing and walking? Were you tipping over like a cow?
Unfortunately I wasn't tipping over, but it was like for the first few days, it was like any pressure on my foot was just like hurt. And
Yeah.
so then I was taking it easy for a while, and like I work from home, so I hardly leave anyway. But then if I
Okay.
had to put shoes on to go anywhere, I was like, oh, my foot's doing way better. And then I put a shoe on. It's like, oh my God, the pain.
Yeah. Any strange dreams that night?
No, no, I was waiting on that. Like I read that book, I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have Mr. Bones dreams. Like this is gonna get in my head.
that would be
So far,
great.
so good.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's bound to. Like,
I um I was driving home from Oklahoma while in the process of writing this book, and I think it was just like the sleep deprivation of it all, and I was just exhausted and sick of driving, but I was driving and thinking about this book and how to do it. And I became convinced at some point that I couldn't continue writing this book until I knew what it was like to break a bone because I have not broken one. And so I convinced myself that once I made it home, I would break a bone intentionally just so I would know the research. And also, I thought it would be amusing to discuss in interviews, like what this
yeah,
would be. But I definitely came to my senses like the next day, and I was like, fuck is wrong with you? You're not gonna break a bone. But apparently me is still like I don't know. I regret not doing it. I was spineless in that instant. I mean, I could have broken like a pinky. I think it would have been fine.
Actually, that's like sleep deprivation talking. I feel like you just think all kinds of crazy things when you haven't had sleep. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I do. I haven't done too many long drives recently, but I used to do a lot of them. And you you begin living in a different reality at some point. Will you just have nothing but your thoughts and like whatever's in front of you. I imagine it would be almost similar to being like in those tanks that you can get into and then you
yeah,
just get sealed off from all of humanity. But at least those you can close your eyes. This is something where you have to keep your eyes open at all
yeah,
times. It's like way more intense and deranged.
yeah. That's why um, like I love podcasts where people will call in with their ghost like Monsters Among Us style stuff. We'll call in with their monster stories, and like I'd say 90% of them are people who are on the road and clearly sleep deprived, and they're like, "That's when I saw a pale crawler. That's when a skinwalker ran across the road." It's like you were on the road too long. You needed to
Yeah.
pull over and go to sleep.
You will hallucinate if you will awake too long. I mean, it's
Yeah,
science.
yeah.
It's gonna happen.
You'll start to hear stuff. Like you'll get the auditory hallucinations, and you straight up see things. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun though, just to become convinced, even briefly, that you've witnessed something from out of this universe. I mean, that's exciting. I wish that
yeah,
would happen more often. I would love to like just witness some crazy stuff going on and then I would love for everyone to be like, no, that's not true. It's all these skeptics, and I would
and
go
you'd be like, "I
crazy
know what
with
I
my
saw."
thoughts. I saw it, it's real, and it would drive me nuts for the rest of my days. I would love that.
I know. Like anytime I go camping or something, it's like, all right, this is the weekend. I'm gonna see a Bigfoot. I'm gonna see something out here. It's gonna happen. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's because I'm waiting
Well,
for it. I don't know.
I don't know if I buy into the Bigfoot thing, maybe. Just, I guess I can't get over like, is it just one Bigfoot or many big feet? I don't know. Didn't I have you on my podcast to talk about
Yeah, yeah,
Bigfoot? Yeah, okay.
yeah. Like
So
maybe a year or
yeah,
two ago.
that's right. I just remembered that. Yeah, you're the Bigfoot guy.
Yeah.
Never mind. I take it back. I believe in Bigfoot. I don't want to offend you.
Oh no, you want to like
Don't want to piss you off. Don't want to really get you angry.
I'm gonna bury this. I'm gonna bury this interview. It never happened.
Thought you were gonna say you were gonna billy a hatchet in my face.
That's what I'm passionate about. Like, come on. It's like
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
I mean, it
Um,
would be cool if he was alive.
I mean
That
that's I got my
yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know, man. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Maybe.
I
Um.
don't know.
Oh in addition, like you coming up soon. You have the Ghoulish Book Festival.
Yes, I
Coming up
do.
in March, and people should go to that. They should go see
Yeah.
it. Like it is unlike a lot of these things. It's geared towards readers. Like it's geared toward people that want to find books and stuff like that.
And if they if they read Mystical Bones before then, half of that book is just about two people who live in Texas who kind of resemble my wife and I putting on a book fest. So you get to see what goes in doing that, and then you get to go to the actual fest.
Yeah,
And plus, you'll hide in the big news. You will have a table at the
yeah.
event as
I'll
well.
have a table there. I'm super excited. Well, it's funny, I was
Yeah.
reading that book, reading the parts about setting up the festival. When your characters mention it's like, oh yeah, you got to have like a hand truck so you can bring all your books in, and it's like, oh yeah. So I told Kate, I was like, yeah, I just read this. We gotta have something we can haul the boxes in. So
Yeah, the dollies
useful
they come
information.
in use. Absolutely. I wanted to spend so much more time on that book, just kind of making it a publishing guide. But at a certain point, I think it would have just become extremely tedious, and not sure who would have wanted that. But I tried to put in some useful info, especially when it came to tabling at events.
Yeah, like especially for someone like I. This will be the first time I've ever tabled an event. It's the first time I've done that. So I'm accumulating the things I need, getting ready.
I I'm in Texas, and right now the pollen count is crazy. So my nose is just like a faucet right now.
Oh, yeah,
So
I have to take my Claritin every single day, or else like I just die. And literally, if I miss one day, like it'll be like, okay, I'm gonna feel like garbage for the next month. Like,
yeah, I've been hiding my nose napkin issues, but I don't know. Maybe the listeners and the watchers. This is a YouTube show. Maybe they want to see that. I don't know.
that's
Right
true.
in,
They
right
want the
in.
reality, the
Leave a
reality of what it's like to have allergies.
leave a comment. Next time you'll see some nose action.
We can get
Uh,
this as graphic as viewers want. Nothing is off the
yeah,
table.
that's right. I'll break a bone if we sell enough books, man. Let's do it.
That's what you need
This
to do. Like,
this pinky, it has been numb for 2 years. I don't know what's going on with it.
what
No
the heck?
feeling at all. I'll break it right now. It won't even be painful.
Okay, that had to be part of the inspiration because wasn't that anytime his phone takes the bone, it's just kind of numb and tingly like it's asleep.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with my hand, but it's been like 2 years now. It's not the ring, but basically these two fingers and all of this is just permanently asleep. What could that be?
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think it's like a pinched nerve in my spine or something, and it's all connected, you know. But that sensation definitely played a lot into the book because I played it up a lot. I also have recently, within the last year or so, been experiencing restless leg syndrome. So I got to incorporate that into the book as well. I didn't know what the fuck that was until I was explaining it to my wife, and she was like, "That sounds like restless leg syndrome," and that's because that. So I had to do some googling, and yeah, it's a thing. It's annoying.
Yeah, that's uh my wife Katie gets she has like we have like three weighted blankets and that's her cure for restless leg syndrome. It's like bring on the weighted blankets.
I would hate that because the thing is, I can't have weight on my legs. I freak out. I don't like the sensation at all.
Yeah,
Well, it's no
I get
solution.
that. Yeah, like I anything like if I like roll over and have blankets are too tight around me, I'm like, oh my God, like so I can't
Yeah,
understand why people do the caving thing where it's like I'm gonna go compress myself into this small space. I'm like, no, no.
I've been in a few caves. It sucks.
Have you
It's
done
too
like the
tight.
crawling? Have you done like the crawling around in them? And
No, I've not crawled in a cave. I've only walked and crouched, but not crawled.
see,
I did the
like
one in um Mammoth, and there's also one called Carlsbad. I've done those two. One was in the St. Louis area, and the other one I think was in New Mexico,
mhm.
maybe Arizona, one of those states.
Yeah, I don't I like when like you can walk around in them, but then you see like the videos where people like compress like the whole bit like they'll like breathe in, let the air out so they can like squeeze into a space, and I'm like, why? Like
No.
you should have enough sense of self-preservation that your body doesn't let you do that. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I also have no desire to jump out of an airplane. Like I don't want to do any of that stuff. What about you? Would you? Do you have any
I
interest?
I've never jumped out of a plane. It's one of those things that like, sitting on my ass, like watching a video of it in the phone, like, "Oh, I could do that. But I think it'd be very different once I got onto a plane and be like, oh no, this was a mistake. Like,
Yeah. What
because I
about
get weird
bungee
about heights.
jumping? I have this thing, well, I'm convinced if I tried bungee jumping, what would happen what would be I would get to the bottom and it would sling my body all the way into space. I just think that would happen. I don't know why. Like, why doesn't it happen? It makes sense.
Yeah.
That would be the effect, but that's
Well,
never what happens.
it's like that's like the Looney Tunes physics that should be reality. Like you should just snap off and then like you hit and there's like a little white cloud like
Yeah.
where you landed.
I think it would happen if I tried it, but no one else, I don't think. They know how to do it right. I don't know how to do it right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those. I can't do the thing at Six Flags where they take you up and they do like little mini bungee thing over the things. Like it's like if I can't do
Yeah.
that, I probably can't do the actual.
Why are humans so just gung ho on like trying to die through crazy stunts? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, because you would think like whatever gene or something or whatever in our DNA that makes us some of us want to do that would have been bred out because that doesn't
Yeah.
seem to like work with
What
continuing a species.
what happened to the survival instincts that have brought us this thrill in the time? It's gone. No one wants to live anymore. Never mind, nobody wants to milk anymore. Nobody wants to live.
And I blame capitalism, which is just in general what I blame for
I
things.
blame Obama.
Everybody does still. Like I'll see, the crazier relatives on my social media. And it's like it's been like it's been like a decade. Like let it he hasn't been
Saw
any kind
him.
of
Saw him. He's doing it all. I mean, what a
uh
compliment they keep giving him too. Like for someone to be so like responsible for all of these things, that's a
seriously.
huge compliment for giving Obama.
Yeah, like
I don't, I
he's
don't think
meant
he's
he's
that skilled. Yeah, I mean, he's not doing all that.
like no. He didn't even do all the things the people who voted for him wanted him to do.
Get fucked, Obama. You think he's
That's
listening?
that's what he's all. I mean, you've seen Facebook. He's always listening.
Oh yeah, that's true. The NSA is definitely listening.
Yeah, this is all being stored
I'm the
uselessly
NSA.
in a cloud somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I haven't read it yet, but I know you have you're working with Little Ghost bookstore to make you're having like it's two novellas in a little
Oh yeah.
collection, and you have like the Dilla, which almost sounds like Texas Moby Dick with an armadillo instead of a whale. That's just my only reading the synopsis. Like I'm basing it on nothing else.
Yeah, it's the way I visualized it and I pitch it is it's kind of like a Tom and Jerry thing. Real um, man is trying to kill his armadillo. I haven't read Moby Dick, but I imagine Moby Dick is really much like a Looney Tunes thing as well, from what I know about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
so Ghoulish Books and Little Ghosts, we teamed up to do a limited imprint called Ghoulish Ghosts. And we did this flip book collection. I did one novella, and Jason Krofchek did one novella, and we combined them into one book, but it's upside down, so you have to flip it to read the second novella. Jason did a book called Roots Run Deep, and I did a novella called The Dillo. Both of them are about men who lose their lives and grieve in different ways. Mine is mostly funny and strange. His is strange and really depressing. So a little flip flop of emotions.
I love that. The two different
Yeah.
approaches to the same like traumatic.
What's odd is we didn't even talk about the premises ahead of time, but we both wrote the same like setup. But going even further, both the novellas involve these men finding strange creatures in the gardens out front. I don't know.
Oh,
It seems like it was planned, but it wasn't. I don't know what the hell is going on with that. It was a huge coincidence.
okay, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. There's like behind the scenes psychic shenanigans happening.
Yeah. So if you want to read a book that might make you infected with paranormal wow, STDs, get that book.
Sold. That's all
Yeah.
the back should say.
Who wants to get infected? Getting a lot out of this lamp.
It's amazing. It's like the best. Like
Yeah.
I should have an open window like a jackass, but you have your cool lamp.
Well, usually I have lights on behind me on, and it looks terrible because no one should have lights facing the camera, but I don't have any other lights to face me. So we have this lamp in the kids section of the bookshop I run, and I grabbed it at the last second, thinking it would apply some light to me, and
And
I didn't
it's
anticipate how fun it would be to hold it.
this
Yeah,
changes everything. This is
it's pretty cool.
I hope this changes the way you do your own podcast. Like everything revolves around the light now.
I'm bringing this with me any place I go. It doesn't matter that it's not plugged in. I'll take it with me to the grocery shop, any place. Just always gonna hold it with me. And when the police eventually plug my body with bullets, I will be holding this high.
I hope when I go to the festival, like I see you just like walking around, just you yelling at authors, like you get your
Yeah,
table together.
I think I need to invest like in a bathrobe maybe because I feel like if I had a bathrobe on while holding this, that would really bring this kill to alive.
Yes, like the
Neville had a
full look.
bathrobe. You feel? Do you have
Yeah,
any recommendations? Do you know
I
anything about bathrobes?
I know little about bathrobes. Speaking of the Simpsons, my first thought was when Homer gives it religion. He's walking around the yard with his bathrobe with a toothbrush sticking out, like communing with his animal friends.
Yeah,
Because
that would be the life.
because
If
everything
anyone
goes
if anyone watching has any bathrobe advice, leave a comment.
like and subscribe. Leave a comment.
That the like and subscribe doesn't impact me much. I only impacts you.
Yeah,
Leave a
yeah.
comment. And if you want, like and subscribe.
I think
Yeah.
you need to change like all your profile photos just need to be you holding that lamp up to your face, like just like
Yeah. That's I hope that's what I'm known for by the time I'm dead and rotted.
that'll be the obituary picture that all the papers and articles choose. It'll just be you with that light in your face.
Psychopath who holds lamp finally dead. City rejoices.
17-year reign of terror ended.
Excellent.
Well, thank you again for coming on here. This was awesome.
Absolutely.
And yeah, everybody listening, watching, go pick up I believe Mr. Bones. I'm also a huge fan of Maggot Screaming.
Thank you.
That one has stuck with me.
That's my favorite book of mine, so thank you. I think that one's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, agreed, absolutely. And yeah, and just you can order from Ghoulish Books online or go in person. And the festival is in March, and you should be there.
I'm gonna be.
Yeah, and the people listening. Yeah, yeah.
They they can do as long as they comment, I'm fine.
They got comment with robe suggestions, or none of this was worth it.
Yeah.